Welcome back to Semen Retention, live on a walk. Let's go! So, I want to talk about the whole idea of, exponentially growing. When you're on semen retention or self-improvement, the reality is that the majority of people aren't going to be on it, okay? The majority of guys are either cooming in their singlehood or they're cooming in their relationships. That's just the reality. And then you've got a minority of men that are retaining, whether it be because of their age or whether it be because they're consciously aware of the fact that losing semen is not beneficial for you. The other reality is that I would say maybe not the majority of men. I would say less than 50% of men are on the whole self-improvement journey. I think there's probably about 30% of dudes that are actually like wanting to kind of go next level. But with that being said, when they're younger, in their 20s and in their 30s, it's natural to want to improve. That's just like what we do. But I've found a lot of guys my age, 30 years old, I'm exactly 30 years old, they're just kind of stuck on this cruise control kind of thing. And, there's nothing wrong with going into the motion of things and getting into a bit of a routine and all that kind of stuff. But the issue that I find is that a lot of people, when I say people in my videos, I'm just talking about men, guys. I hope you're aware of that. They're just stagnating, and they're not aware of it until they're in the presence of a retainer. So essentially, what that is that when you're on that kind of time, people are just naturally going to be, thrown off course. They're going to be like, "What's up with that dude? Why is he got this kind of motivation? Why is he doing things? Why is he achieving things? Why is he constantly coming in to these social situations with a positive kind of energy?" Right now, around the whole world, a lot of people financially are battling. They've got their own challenges as far as financial issues. Everyone's on the pinch. Everyone's got to save a bit more. Everyone's got to be a bit more mindful with the amount of money that they earn, and there's only a certain amount of activities that one can do in today's era. So what I've been noticing is that it's one of those things that I've been on the self-improvement grind for at least 5 years now. I think I started around 2018, and that was basically when I first went, after my first kind of long-term relationship breakup occurred. That's when I decided to kind of focus more on meditation, focusing more on image. I was getting into the red pill for the first time, and I didn't really necessarily obsess over that until probably 2020, but just a little dose early on put me on that self-improvement grind. And watching people like Rob Dial's Mindset Mentor, meditating on the Headspace app. I think I got to something I'd meditated about 7 days of my life as far as time. And I was like, all right, I think I understand it. I can enforce meditation on my own terms, and it doesn't have to be a routine, rigid thing. So that's kind of where I was at. But then eventually it just kind of, like any kind of skill building exercise, it became more potent, it became more powerful. I started digging deeper. I started going into deeper holes, deeper rabbit holes, and discovering new things to be inspired by. And so eventually I found semen retention. And semen retention was just that one thing that I needed to push me to a whole new level. So when I first started my self-improvement journey, I was below average, I'd say. not in terms of like my abilities for my purpose, but as far as like my overall abilities in the world. Like I hadn't got my stuff together and I needed to. So eventually when I got past the baseline and got onto semen retention, that's when I started pushing ahead of my competitors in my field. You know, everyone is competing against you in some sort of field. So it could be in your own industry, it could be on levels of attractiveness. Maybe you're naturally more attractive than other people, maybe you're taller, maybe you've got a better facial structure, whatever. Like there's ways to compete against other people. Maybe your energy is just so attractive to people, like you've got a charisma, you're funny, maybe you've just got like that kind of mood that some people find really attractive. So that's like the thing that you can always compete against someone in some sort of domain. Okay, maybe you cook the best food, maybe you have like a unique skill, like etc. Okay, so when you're doing that kind of stuff, it's natural to realize that the whole world's competitive. But when it comes to the overall competitiveness, there is like a bit of like a kind of credit system going on. Like, you know, there is like an overall score that people are getting, okay? And I want to make my score above average. And semen retention, what you'll realize the longer you go on it is you are starting to skyrocket past people. Like at first people are going to think you're a crazy weirdo for like going on semen retention. Like what's the point of going on semen retention? Can't you just enjoy life? Or you're going to renounce yourself from being with women and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay, there's in the first few months, you might think, man, I'm really sacrificing a lot of joy in my life. But then after you've been on past a year and you compare yourself to your brethren that haven't been on it at all, within that year, you will have already transformed and metamorphed into something completely different that people just won't be able to keep up with it. I had a friend over and his girlfriend came over for dinner the other night. We just had some pizzas. I made the dough from scratch. They're vegan, so they brought some ingredients and stuff. But essentially what happened was, we were making our own pizzas and stuff. And even just when I saw the dude tried to like do some simple things like blend tomatoes in a jug so then we could have some pizza sauce, you know, put oregano, garlic and sauce, like diced tomatoes in a jug, use the blending stick to blend it together. And I noticed how he did that and I was like, man, that guy doesn't even know what he's doing. And then when it came to him chopping his pizzas, he was struggling, like he just didn't know how to do things properly. And then I realized he's never really gone on this time. He's been in a relationship for a very long time. I'd say probably about 5, 6, 7 years. He hasn't done any self-improvement. He's just, in fact, his woman is the one that's just leveling up all the time. She seems to be continuing to expand their business. Like she's kind of the face. It's been her business from the start and she's running it. So he's basically essentially falling into the beta male kind of archetype, which is natural. Like that's what happens. And this guy's an attractive dude. He's probably like 6'1" or something like that. He's a good looking dude. He's got a funny kind of personality as well, but like he wants to be a filmmaker and he wants to make films, but I've known him for a long time and we've had discussions over the last 6, 7 years and he still hasn't made one film. He hasn't even made a short film. Like he's made one music video with me, another music video with another band, and that's it. He hasn't done any of his own creative projects. All he's done recently is with his business, with his girlfriend, which is like making advertisements for like maternity products, you know, like just things that do nothing to do with creative kind of, you know, it's just like literally use an iPhone and film this product and talk about it. Like that's the extent of his creativity. Sorry guys. So what happened is I just said to him, we were sitting by the fire, I lit a fire outside, we were having our pizzas out there, and I was just like, dude, you know what your problem is? You never even jumped in the water. You barely even dipped your toes. And the reason why I said it to him just straight up was because I was like, man, this guy's cringe. He can't even like cut a pizza, can't even like blend tomato sauce, and he can't even get over the fact that the first thing that he makes might not be perfect. He can't get over the fact that to be a filmmaker, you're not going to have access to millions of dollars of, like these Hollywood filmmakers. Like maybe just to be an independent filmmaker, you should just start a YouTube channel and gain some traction from that. Like, it's just, I think people are getting, well, not people in general, but I just think that like some people get way too obsessed about being so perfect. These people are so shallow as well. They're so like obsessed with the external opinion of themselves that they actually have no real substance to themselves. They don't actually understand what it is they actually want. So that's why when a person like me enters the frame and, talks about how I've done this, I'm recording my album and I'm moving on to that and this and that, and I'm earning a lot of money doing my music career, like all that kind of stuff. It's like, dude, yeah, this isn't a mistake. I've put the time into this. Semen retention's amplified that. Semen retention has created that exponential kind of boost that has pushed me up into like a whole new stratosphere. So I want you guys to take that into account. We always talk about how you're gonna kind of like, you're gonna have new friends and drop off frequencies that no longer, you resonate with, and unfortunately that means people in your life have to drop off as well. It's all part of this kind of pruning process. Like, you look at the trees all around here, it's like the branches are going to fall off, like at some stage. It has to keep sprouting up. And that's the process. And I'm trying to lay eggs in people's minds, like, or seeds, I guess you could say, where people start to consider the fact that your sexual energy is more than just like being, horny. It's more than just something that you use to procreate. Interesting thing as a little side topic, the girl, his girlfriend was talking about how we were talking about birth control and stuff like that, and she was saying how she's been on the pills since she was like probably like 14 or 12 or something like that. Probably 14 actually. Anyway, so she was just talking about that, and I just thought it was interesting. And then she said how, half of her life she's been on this contraception, and that's the majority of Western women, as far as I'm aware. I don't know anything about the East, but my sister was probably the same. Even my mum was probably the same. But at the end of the day, she spent half of her life on a pharmaceutical. And the thing is that like she's got confidence, she's okay and all that sort of stuff, but she's got some physical issues happening. Like she's got some some issues internally, and it makes you wonder like what is the long-term effects of these things. I mean, it can be hormonal based. That's what a contraception is doing. It's changing your hormones and all that kind of stuff. So it just makes you think that if we as semen retainers just had the discipline to hold on to our seed, even if we are to partake in like sexual intercourse and do the deed with a girl, protect yourself, but just don't release. Even if you don't have protection, don't release. Like that's the game. That's how you do it. Like that's it's how I've managed to have a couple of people on my streak that I've managed to have these these one night kind of stand things, and I'm not going out of my way for one night stands. That's just what's happened, unfortunately. But like at the end of the day, like I'm holding on to my seed. I'm preventing like a baby being born. They wouldn't actually need to have these hormonal changing pills and destroying their bodies either. So it's a win-win situation. And if we were together on a frequency, like a high vibrational frequency, and actually had like a union together that felt like it was going to last a long time, enough to raise a child into an adult, then I would be very considerate of releasing in, in that moment. But that's the whole point, guys, is that all these pills, all these pharmaceutical companies and all that kind of stuff, where do they come from? They come from the fact that men are coomers. It's that simple. They come from the fact that men don't have sexual discipline. It come from the fact that men don't know how to hold on to their seed, and therefore their health benefits are destroying them. The same goes for the women these days. Women are getting encouraged, using their magic wands and, all that kind of stuff. It's like, that's just, yeah, it's a cringeworthy kind of era. But at the end of the day, just to instate these topics that I'm talking about today, is that you're going to have this kind of exponential kind of growth on semen retention, where like people, they're just going to be miles below you, especially if you're on a long streak. I'm on, coming up this week, it's going to be 14 months semen retention. It's crazy, guys, but it's not crazy. It's natural. It's good. I feel good. I don't miss any of that degeneracy. I don't miss feeling lethargic. I don't miss the brain fog. I don't miss any of that kind of stuff. Every day, despite even having some down days and all that sort of stuff, is a way better day than it was, more than a year and a half ago. So, with that being said, I want you guys to all have a great weekend. Like this video if you want to support my channel, leave a comment. Appreciate you guys commenting on my videos. It's good to see, some similar usernames in the comments, just keeping up the support. I'll catch you on the next episode of Semen Retention.